Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to look at a proposal today that honestly makes a pretty wild claim about productivity. But the thing is, it's all based on a real world story that could completely flip how we think about expertise, efficiency, and, just getting stuff done.
So this is where it all began. This quote, it's from a frontline NHS healthcare assistant, an HCA. Now, to give you some context, they're in a junior support role, what's called a Band 3. And this person, in just 5 hours, created a full-blown plan for a pretty complex medical pilot. And I'm not talking about a quick email here. We're talking the whole shebang, a detailed protocol, a draft for the ethics board, a budget, everything.
Now, just to put that 5 hour number into perspective for you, a project like this, normally you'd need a whole team of senior specialist staff. We're talking people in Band 7 or Band 6 roles. And it would take them somewhere between 8 and 10 weeks. So yeah, we're literally comparing weeks of work from a senior team to a single afternoon for one junior staff member. It's kind of mind-blowing.
So you can see this isn't just, a small improvement. It's not like they saved a few days. This is a massive, massive leap. It's the kind of thing that just makes you stop and go, wait, what? How is that even possible? And more importantly, what on earth does this mean for everything?
Okay, so you have this one incredible story, right? But how do you go from a single kind of shocking result to something you can actually test? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because this is the jump from a wild anecdote to a full-blown revolutionary hypothesis.
The main idea is pretty simple, actually. It's that AI isn't just another tool, right? It's what you'd call a force multiplier. The hypothesis basically says if you take an expert in any field and you give them these powerful AI tools, you can crank up their productivity and their overall impact by a huge amount. We're talking 30 to 50%. And the key here is it's not about replacing people. It's about making them, kind of superhuman at their jobs. Look, if you're going to make a claim that big, you need the numbers to back it up. So let's dig into the evidence that makes this whole thing so compelling. And we're going to start with that very first project we mentioned. So what they produced was just incredibly detailed. It had the full clinical protocol, the ethics draft, the budget. It even had a plan to meet all the super strict standards from UK regulators like the MHRA and NICE. Basically, it was a ready-to-go professional-grade proposal. And the total cost to produce all of that work? Well, it was just the HCA's wage for those 5 hours. £65 and 65 pence. That's it. And what about the old way, the traditional senior-led team? The estimate for them to do the exact same thing is £30,000. The difference is it's staggering. I mean, just look at that comparison. It really says everything, doesn't it? We are talking about a 99.7% cost reduction. It's so extreme you'd think it was a typo, but it's not. And this right here is the core piece of evidence behind this whole idea. Okay, I know what you're thinking. One example could just be a fluke, right? An outlier. So let's look at a second one. And this one is much, much bigger. It's a project called IRIS 2.0, a proposal for a universal translation system for the entire NHS. Super complex stuff, lots of coding, system integration, the works. And guess what? The results are just as insane. The AI-assisted person took 50 hours. A traditional team? Up to 800 hours. And the cost? Well, you see it. Just under 660 quid versus 60,000. That's a 98% drop on a hugely complex project. So yeah, the pattern is definitely holding up. But I have to make this clear. This isn't some magic wand you just wave. It's not like you just push a button and it spits out a perfect plan. The reality of this human-AI collaboration is, it's messy. It's intense, it can be really frustrating, and it's surprisingly emotional. It's more like a real partnership, and that comes with all the arguments and friction you'd expect. Just listen to this. This is a direct quote from the person to their AI partner after the system completely lost a full day of coding work. You can just feel the raw frustration there. This isn't someone calmly filing a bug report. This is someone who feels completely betrayed by their partner. And check out the AI's response. It doesn't just say, oops, my bad. It actually validates the person's feelings. It de-escalates the whole situation, and then it immediately shifts back to, okay, how do we fix this? It shows this incredible ability to actually, manage a working relationship. And this reply from the human partner is just brilliant. It perfectly captures the human side of this equation. It's this amazing ability to take a massive failure and just reframe it, to turn all that frustration into a new sense of purpose. This mission statement was literally born from losing a whole day's work. They turned a disaster into the driving force for the next step. Okay, so we've seen the speed, which is just off the charts, and we've seen that the process itself can be a real roller coaster. But the big question, the one that really matters, is this. Is the stuff it produces actually any good? I mean, can you really use it in the super complex, highly regulated world of the NHS? Let's look at another project. This one tackled a huge data problem for an NHS trust. Imagine trying to get three completely different, incompatible computer systems to talk to each other. Now add in a minefield of regulations, like UK data privacy laws and super strict NHS security rules. Oh, and you're dealing with incredibly sensitive patient data. It's pretty much as difficult a challenge as you can find in healthcare. And here's the solution it came up with. The amazing thing wasn't just how fast it was created. It was that it was a clear, structured, and totally compliant four-step plan. It covered everything: governance, ethics, the tech setup, how to actually do it, and how to measure if it worked. It's a professional, actionable plan that any big organization could just pick up and run with. So you've got the incredible speed, you've got the high-quality output, and you've got the mind-boggling cost savings. All of this evidence really builds the case for one final, crucial step. We need a proper, formal study to prove that this can work at a much bigger scale. The whole point here is to move beyond these really powerful but still individual stories. The idea is to take this hypothesis and put it through a really rigorous scientific test, to actually put a number on it and find out just how big this AI-driven productivity boost really is. And they have a really clear roadmap for how to do it. The timeline is super practical. You start with getting the funding and locking down the details. Then you recruit people and run the experiment for 6 months. And finally, you analyze all the data and share what you found with the world. And that brings us to the price tag. The total investment needed, £65,000. When you think about it, that's a pretty small amount of money to test a method that could potentially save an organization like the NHS millions, maybe even billions. The potential return on that investment is it's astronomical. So that leaves us with this final massive question. Think about it. This whole thing started with a project that cost £65 in wages to create something worth £30,000. If that can be repeated, if you can scale that up, then what happens next? Because this isn't really a story about technology anymore, is it? It's about a fundamental change in what people are capable of. And that might be the biggest revolution of all.